This is the second video on the SKU items tab that is listed under the administration link in ActionFlow. The first video demonstrated the configuration of SKU items, while this one will deal with the different calc types that you see. Calc types are essentially price lists of where you want the set amount you will charge for your customers to show. You can have as many calc types as you want. Every line item that you might want to charge for should first appear on the left side under your SKU items grid. And then to set the prices you'll charge for those items, you must move them over to the right side into the cost definitions grid for one or more of the different calc types. For example, assume that I have a SKU over here called laminate under the tear out section. It's already defined on the left side of the screen, and now I want to add this to my retail calculation type. To do so, I would select that laminate tear out and click this button here, Add Selected SKUs. You can see that the tear out was now moved over, and for this example, I want to charge $10 a square foot for the tear out, and I would enter that amount here. If the class type were a percentage, then I would enter a percentage amount here instead of entering in my dollar amount. The other way to set a price for an item is to use your categories. Categories are often used for materials and sometimes for edges, but this could be used for any SKU class. For example, we can see that we already have categories listed for granite. Now let's add a new category called Category E by clicking the green plus sign, and then we're going to double click on that to highlight it. And we're going to change that to Category E and click the Save button. Now let's create a new SKU under your SKU items called ActionFlow Blue. We already have an ActionFlow Blue, so we are going to call this ActionFlow Yellow. And we're going to go ahead and click on the Save sign. And now what we want to do is we want to add the ActionFlow Yellow to the Category E. We select this item, and then we also select Category E and make sure that that's highlighted, and then we're going to click Add Selected SKU Items to the category. And as you can see, it moved ActionFlow Yellow to Category E. Now we need to set the price for Category E. To do that, we need to make sure that Category E is selected in the category above. And then what we're going to do is add selected categories. And you can see that it did move it over. Now you see granite Category E. And now we're going to enter our pricing here. And let's say for this example, we're going to charge $80 a square foot for that category. So by using categories, we can define one price that applies to an entire group of items. For example, on Category B, all of these colors will go at the $50 a square foot price. Many of the settings for the calc types that you see up here are self-explanatory, but let's highlight a few of those items. By clearing the active checkbox that you see here, you can deactivate a calc type so it won't show up on your drop-down in your quote screen. The next section is the retail calc type that you see here. This checkbox is used in situations where you are providing estimates to dealers who then mark up your prices and charge those prices to their customers. If you were to check this box, an additional column would show up where you can enter in retail prices. The verbiage field allows you to enter language that will show up on the estimate for this calc type only, so you could type that here. This next section, the calculation defaults, this allows you to define default values for the calc type, as you can see here. And then the next section would be the email, and this allows you to define default email language for when you're sending emails using this calc type, so you can adjust that and edit that here. Finally, we'd like to discuss a few of the columns that you see down here under your cost definitions grid. The first section that we want to review would be the material column, As you can see here, the material column allows you to define a charge that only applies to when a certain material is selected. If the asterisk is showing, then the line item will appear on all the materials. The next 5 columns that you see here, starting with the special column, allows ActionFlow to perform special calculations in every specific situation, but we won't go into details here, but just know that those fields are available for you to use. The Alt Calc is a checkbox that is used to tell ActionFlow to include that material line item in the alternative calculations grid. In those cases, you can enter a slab square foot amount to be used in those calculations. The auto add column that you see here tells ActionFlow to automatically add this line into every calculation. The next section would be the net text column, and that tells ActionFlow to exclude this item from any text calculations. The hidden column will hide this item from the estimated reports. Your discontinued checkbox disables the item from future calculations while leaving it in for past calculations on your quotes. The option checkbox that you see here will cause the item to be added as an optional item on your quotes. And then you see the effective and end date columns here. These will allow you to define certain periods where the item applies. So if the price has changed, you can enter in an end date, and then you can create a new line for that item with the new price and the applicable effective date for that line. You can also move your grids over by using this column here. So if you needed a little bit more room on your left side, you can do that. And this is adjustable. That concludes the Administration SKU Items Part 2 video with ActionFlow.